Your quarterback is lighting up practice every single day, yet there's not even a flicker of curiosity to see what he might accomplish with the first-team offense. That's baffling. On top of that, teammates are going on podcasts and speaking to the media, openly saying, this guy is the real deal. Even his peers recognize the talent. So why can't the coaching staff see what's right in front of them? It always starts with the players. You hear whispers like, did you catch that throw he made? It's the quiet consensus that builds before the storm. The Cleveland Browns were caught off guard when Sheadur Sanders stepped in for first-team snaps. He seized control of the drill with remarkable poise, instantly exposing weaknesses across the quarterback room. His presence forced coaches to pause film sessions, reassess reads, and rework the depth chart on the spot. Word spread like wildfire, from the locker room to social media. Within minutes, discussions erupted about what Sanders' breakout moment means for the status quo. The organization now stands at a pivotal crossroads. Make a data-driven leap forward or risk losing the locker room's trust and fan base's faith. When Sanders took those first-team reps, it wasn't just another practice. It was a paradigm shift. Coaches wiped the whiteboard clean. Analysts and assistants exchanged knowing glances. The energy changed. The quarterback room felt it. The entire franchise felt it. Tony, every season we witness one or two teams rise from last place to playoff contention. It's a league of volatility and sudden ascents, yet nobody's giving the Browns that same benefit of the doubt. But history shows it happens all the time. And let's be honest, Cleveland's game plan is simple. Run the football, play elite defense, protect the ball in the air, and capitalize on windows when they open. That blueprint worked in 2020, and the foundation is still in place. What's missing is consistency under center. Deshaun Watson, for all his contract size and expectations, hasn't delivered the reliable high-level performance his paycheck demands. Meanwhile, rookie Dorian Thompson-Robinson shows flashes of promise but remains raw. The depth behind them? Journeymen with clipboards, not game changers. The Browns don't have time to wait. They need an answer now, not 3 years from now. Enter Sheadur Sanders. At Colorado, he threw for over 3,200 yards while dodging pressure behind one of the worst offensive lines in college football. His composure under fire, rapid decision-making, and pinpoint accuracy weren't just impressive, they were NFL caliber. His tape shows polished footwork, crisp progressions, and a maturity that defies his draft position. This isn't about a last name or hype, it's about production. When Sanders was given limited first-team reps at camp, originally meant as a routine evaluation, the tempo of practice changed dramatically. The ball came out on time, routes were sharper, the defense struggled to keep up. Coaches quickly expanded the review, tossing out phrases like reevaluating every option, signaling that the quarterback hierarchy was no longer set in stone. Watson felt the pressure. Dorian ramped up his urgency. And Sanders, he delivered. Again, clean mechanics, decisive reads, firm, accurate throws. Each rep demanded a second look from the staff. Suddenly, burying him on the developmental track felt negligent. And the pressure on Cleveland's front office is mounting. This roster isn't rebuilding, it's ready to contend. The window is now. Fans are exhausted by quarterback instability. The franchise can't afford another miscalculation under center. The NFL has changed. Young quarterbacks don't sit for years anymore. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, even late-rounder Brock Purdy proved that. If you're ready, you play. If Watson starts the season slow, public demand for Sanders will surge, especially if the rookie flashes in preseason. And if the Browns hesitate, other teams may circle, eager to steal a rising star. This is no longer a routine camp evaluation. It's a franchise-altering decision point, and today brought the biggest wrinkle yet. Dylan Gabriel got his shot running 11 on 11 with the starters, but Sheadur Sanders finally got his 11 on 11 reps, even if only with the second unit. That matters. It means momentum is shifting. It means the arrow is pointing up. He's rising fast. And today, he flat out performed better than Dylan. More completions, more poise, more command. He even came inches away from a touchdown. Progress isn't just being made, it's becoming undeniable. Desperation often drives franchises toward bold, high-stakes decisions, especially when their quarterback options appear antiquated or unconvincing. A rapidly emerging scenario is this. Sheadur Sanders earns enough trust to command full preseason reps, with the starters compelling Cleveland to re-examine a depth chart they once believed was immovable as of early July. His performance in practice isn't just exciting, it's quantifiable. High velocity, on-target throws against the first-team defense, confident orchestration of the huddle, crisp decision-making. Each dominant showing fuels not just internal discussions, but external intrigue. Rival scouts are taking notice. General managers are reopening scouting reports, suddenly aware that a viable, ascending young quarterback may soon become available if Cleveland hesitates. Inside team headquarters, the pressure is mounting. The personnel department must balance immediate results with long-term strategy, knowing that an early elevation could ripple across salary cap management and locker room chemistry. Meanwhile, the tension surrounding Deshaun Watson and Dorian Thompson-Robinson intensifies. Neither can afford stagnation. Each rep must be sharp. Every mistake is magnified. Cleveland's recent history is filled with quarterback turmoil, potential turned chaos, so even as Sanders rises, veteran observers remain cautious. They've seen the movie before. But what's different this time? This kid once led college football in completion percentage. He threw for nearly 40 touchdowns and over 4,000 yards. Suddenly, critics question his size as if he shrank overnight. They downplay his arm strength as if the stat sheet was a mirage. But someone threw those passes, someone dominated those games. That someone was Sheadur Sanders. And let's be clear, it's not as though he's been sitting idle for 5 months. By all reports, he's been commanding off-season workouts with a presence and professionalism that rivals 10-year NFL veterans. Definitely not danced in public in my life. On the surface, it was harmless. Veteran rookie banter that offered fans a smile during the heat of June OTAs. But in Cleveland, in this quarterback room, that moment hit different. It wasn't just entertainment, it was chemistry. It was also the beginning of something more profound, something strategic, something revealing. Because behind the laughs and the thousands of likes that followed, a quiet storm was brewing, one that could reshape this season and perhaps the next decade. You've got Sheadur Sanders, the son of Prime, arriving in Cleveland with confidence, composure, and a digital following the size of a small nation. But he didn't come here just to trend. He came to conquer. And standing in his path, Joe Flacco, the veteran tactician with a Super Bowl ring. Gabriel, a third-round pick known for his inconsistency. And Kenny Pickett, the unpredictable wild card. This isn't just a training camp battle, it's a war for the soul of the franchise. Because lurking in the background are 2 potential top 10 picks in 2026. Think about that. If none of these cornerbacks can seize the throne, the Browns might have no choice but to use those picks chasing yet another cornerback. But if just one of them, just one, can rise above the fray, Cleveland can finally end the carousel and build around a true cornerstone. And here's where things get even more compelling. During recent OTA practices, reports emerged that Sanders looked sharp, not just decent, not just promising, sharp. According to observers, he went 6 for 7 in second and third team reps, while Gabriel stumbled with a shaky 2 for 6. That sparked an online frenzy, with fans asking the question, why isn't the most efficient quarterback getting first team reps? Nathan Zagura broke it down. This isn't just about completion percentages or pretty spirals. Sanders is still learning the NFL's complexities, the cadence, the command, the pre-snap reads, the post-snap decisions. Joe Flacco has 191 NFL starts. He's lived this rhythm for over a decade. Kenny Pickett has 25. Sanders, 0. So while he's impressing the staff, he's still in the developmental phase for now. But patience doesn't mean indifference. Behind the scenes, Tommy Rees says Sanders is relentless. He's grinding, studying, evolving. The Browns aren't throwing him to the wolves. They're investing in his future. But the clock is ticking. If Cleveland doesn't fully evaluate Sanders this season, they'll be making critical decisions next year with a blindfold on. That's the danger. That's the tightrope walk. Every rep, every snap in preseason is part of a much larger trial, one that tests not just talent, but readiness, leadership, and franchise potential. Meanwhile, the quarterback room is tense. Gabriel's draft status buys him time. Sure, he's a third rounder, there's capital invested, but the tape doesn't lie. Kenny Pickett hasn't separated himself either, and Flacco, as steady and respected as he is, isn't the long-term answer. So all eyes are shifting to Sheadur. And while fans flood social media with memes of uncles and nephews dancing at weddings, Sheadur and Flacco, they're not just dancing for laughs, they're playing for hope. Browns fans have seen too many quarterback dreams fade. They want to believe. They want to ride this wave into September. But let's pivot, because while the quarterback storyline is ablaze, there's another narrative brewing on the other side of the ball. A tale equally potent, if not more so. Enter Myles Garrett. The Browns went all in, a staggering $160 million, 0 cents extension, the richest ever for a non-quarter. That's not just a payday, it's a declaration. Garrett is the cornerstone of this defense. He's the foundation, and now he must deliver more than stats. He must deliver a culture, a standard. Jim Schwartz summed it up perfectly, quoting Spider-Man, "With great power comes great responsibility." Garrett has the sacks, the accolades, the Pro Bowls, but now he carries the weight of the entire franchise's defensive hopes. And the Browns didn't stop at signing a check. They gave him reinforcements. Mason Graham, their top draft pick, Carson Schweisinger at linebacker, 2 rookies, 2 puzzle pieces chosen with surgical precision. Let's talk about Graham. He wasn't the obvious choice. The Browns passed on blue-chip prospects like Travis Hunter to get him. Why? Because they believe Graham, lining up next to Garrett, could become a nightmare for opposing offenses. Schwartz's defense is built on pressure, chaos, and disruption. And when Garrett draws double or even triple teams, it creates a highway for Graham to feast. If Graham hits, if he becomes that guy, the Browns could have a defensive front that devours games week in and week out. And what about Carson Schweisinger? The kid is raw, still learning. But he's a heat-seeking missile, 136 tackles, 90 solo, with the instincts to be a sideline-to-sideline threat. He's stepping into a linebacker core that lost its heart when Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah went down with that devastating neck injury. Joe K may not play this season, but he's still here, on the sidelines, coaching, leading. His spirit lingered, and that matters because this defense isn't just being built on pressure and tackles, it's being built on unity, identity, and purpose. While the national media might be laser focused on Cleveland's quarterback carousel, let me tell you right now, this team is stockpiling ammunition on both sides of the ball. The Browns aren't just gearing up for a season, they're preparing for a transformation. If Sheadur Sanders proves he's the one, if Mason Graham explodes next to Garrett, if Schweisinger settles in and JOK returns in 2026, this could mark the dawn of a new Browns era. Not a rebuild, not a maybe next year, full throttle, take no prisoners ascent. So now I'm turning the mic to you. If you're Andrew Berry, what's your move? Do you ride the wave with Sanders and hand him the reins early? Or do you stay the course with the veterans while Sanders marinates? And on defense, are you already sensing the makings of the league's most fearsome front seven? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and hit subscribe if you're ready to ride with me all season long. This season, I don't just see Garrett showing up as a dominant pass rusher. I see him emerging as the emotional and physical tone setter for this entire defense. Let's be honest. That's what we've needed. The Browns have had flashes of defensive brilliance before, but now we need sustained greatness. Garrett, with all eyes on him, looks locked in and ready to take that next step. He's not just leading with his play, he's mentoring, raising the bar higher than ever before. And that brings me to Mason Graham. This isn't just a rookie finding his footing, this feels calculated. The way the coaching staff is pairing him with Garrett, the way Jim Schwartz is scheming, it's like we're witnessing a masterclass unfold. Garrett commands the double teams, Graham feasts in the gaps. And what's truly impressive is that Graham already looks like he gets it. He's not wide-eyed or overwhelmed. He's absorbing the playbook, adjusting to the speed, and applying his instincts. It's that beautiful collision of raw talent and elite coaching. And with a veteran like Garrett mentoring him every step of the way, this kid might not just contribute, he could burst onto the scene as a breakout force as early as week 1. Now let's talk about the wild card, Carson Schweisinger. Look, you can't replace a presence like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. You just can't. JOK is special, a one-of-a-kind player, but Carson brings something different, something gritty, something dependable. He's got that relentless motor, that old-school linebacker toughness. He's always around the ball, always making something happen. And let's not forget, 90 solo tackles don't just appear out of thin air. That's the result of relentless preparation, film study, and insane field awareness. The coaching staff sees it, the players feel it, and if you've been paying attention, you know this guy is already carving out his place in the rotation. He might not be the loudest voice in the room, but when that whistle blows, he flips a switch. And let me tell you, when a defense has guys like that, guys who show up and grind every single snap, it raises the floor for the entire unit. He's sharp in meetings, on time in his throws, crisp in his reads. Teammates respect him, coaches are noticing. And every week there's a new headline about his progress in Brown's camp. Shannon Sharpe has made it a mission to defend Sanders publicly, and rightly so. When Sanders was bumped up toward top-tier status, Sharpe responded with an emphatic, fact-loaded rebuttal aimed directly at the critics. He dismantled the narrative that Sanders was arrogant, unprepared, or undeserving. Film doesn't lie, stats don't flinch, and in Sharpe's hands, the receipts were undeniable. Sharpe transformed a routine broadcast into a surgical dissection, highlighting Sanders' pocket presence, efficiency under pressure, and game-winning drives. When panelists cast doubt, Sharpe countered with data, completion rates, red zone decision-making, third down conversions. He wasn't just defending Sanders, he was reframing him as a case study in performance-based elevation, not media hype. But the criticism continues. The detractors, many of whom dismissed Sanders from the beginning, have shifted tactics. First, they accused him of riding his father's legacy. Then they nitpicked his mechanics, questioned his attitude, and downplayed every success. Now that he's getting real opportunities, they suggest his rise is symbolic of deeper dysfunction in the sport. But in reality, it's their egos, tethered to outdated takes that can't accept the truth. Sanders' emergence doesn't just expose flaws in Cleveland's depth chart, it exposes bias in the evaluation process. Never heard of Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Shough? Exactly. And yet, Sanders fell behind them in the draft. Not once, not twice, 4 times. How does that happen to a quarterback with his production, poise, and pedigree? It doesn't, unless something more insidious is at play. Call it what it is, collusion. The NFL community has never seen a quarterback with Sanders' resume slide that far. This wasn't oversight, it was resistance. Resistance to change, resistance to acknowledging that a confident, polished, unapologetically black quarterback can dominate from day one without playing humble for the cameras. But now that the spotlight is on, the narrative is shifting. And this time, the critics don't get to write the ending. So here we are, Cleveland, on the cusp of something monumental, and I'm asking you, how do you see this playing out? Can Garrett's leadership truly ignite Graham's rookie campaign into something historic? Can this defense live up to the hype even without Joe K on the field, simply by having him in the building? Is this finally the year where we stop talking about potential and start talking about production? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you, and if you're as hyped as I am, smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed because this ride is just getting started. All right, let's pivot because we've got to talk about this quarterback situation. And yes, I'm talking about Sheadur Sanders because this kid just electrified Browns Nation. I don't think I've ever seen this much buzz around a rookie quarterback in Cleveland this early in camp. Sheadur came out and absolutely flashed in that recent practice. Sharp, confident, energetic. The guy's got that it factor you can't coach, and now fans are already chanting for him to start week 1. But hold up, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This quarterback room is deep. Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and yes, the 40-year-old playoff legend Joe Flacco. Right now, that starting job is still wide open. Nothing's been handed out. Shedur's got the arm. His college numbers were insane, 74% completion at Colorado, best in the FBS. But the red flags are real too. He's been sacked 94 times in 2 years. That's not just bad protection, that's holding onto the ball too long, drifting backward, trying to extend every play. And in the NFL, that'll get you eaten alive. But here's the thing, he knows that. And that's why I'm optimistic. He's already put in the work. The mental side, locked in. Browns OC Tommy Rees even praised him this week for how quickly he's learning the offense and adjusting to pro speed. Reports from camp say he looked better than Pickett, Gabriel, and even Flacco in that last session. That's no small feat. Vegas isn't sold just yet though. FanDuel has Flacco as the favorite to start week 1 at plus 116, Pickett at plus 230, Sheadur at plus 310, and Gabriel way back at plus 1960. So yeah, the smart money is still on Flacco. And honestly, that makes sense. He and Kevin Stefanski caught fire last year, won 4 or 5 down the stretch, got us to the playoffs when no one thought it was possible. That chemistry, that leadership matters. But don't sleep on Sheadur. If he keeps stacking good practices, if he keeps learning the system and cleaning up those decision-making errors, we might have a legitimate quarterback controversy brewing, and for once, that's a good problem to have. So I'll throw it to you guys again. Should Sanders start week 1 if he keeps outperforming everyone in camp? Or should we ride the veteran wave with Flacco and give the kid time to develop? Let me know your thoughts below. And trust me, you're going to want to stay tuned. This Browns season isn't just about hope, it's about answers, and we're finally on the verge of finding some. Go Browns! Something is brewing in Berea, and it's not just another round of OTA. What should have been a routine preparation phase has transformed into something far more electrifying, a moment that's ignited Browns fans and sparked a social media frenzy. You can experience it all firsthand, but first, hit that like button and drop a comment below. How long have you been a Cleveland Browns fan? It's inspiring to see fans of all ages here. Thank you guys, everything.